Both of them listen.
All right, here we are. So, Rick Reif, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, and Jim Dot Dandy. And you, Mr. Welch, are doing how?
I mean, I got compliments on my looks today, so I'm really excited about that.
Well, obviously you've been hitting the gym because you're looking jacked.
I've just been doing some push-ups.
Oh, come on. Just
I mean, some weights here and there. You know what I've really been doing?
What's that?
That's completely changed what I've never done this before, but I started about a year ago, on and off, but creatine. Yeah. Like I have a terrible time like putting on muscle. I've always been a skinny little twerp my whole life. Like junior high school,
Right.
I was man, I was skinny. I couldn't put weight on. I would try to eat and then I couldn't even fill myself up and I'll get sick and I just couldn't put muscle on ever.
My daughter and I can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
And I just started creatine recently.
Oh really?
Yeah, absolutely.
How long ago when did you start?
It was in the winter sometime because my plan this past winter was to work on overall body strength.
Yeah.
So that I could be a fast triathlete this summer. Somehow plans went a little awry, but anyhow.
Well, you're going to still continue to take it?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
There have been numerous studies on it, and one of the things that it really benefits, especially, it's not just for muscle, but it's they say it's like really great for memory in your brain.
The brain.
And I need all the help that I can get in that because I forget stuff all the time.
Wait till you're old like me.
Well, how old are you, Rick?
We're 72 now.
72 years young.
That's pretty old, but we're still kicking.
Yeah.
Sort of.
All right. So, you know what? I'm going to dive right in.
Okay, dive.
Because I think you're probably the oldest person I've had on the show to interview, I think. Yeah.
Thanks for not saying that I'm the oldest person you know.
No, there's quite a few people. So the question that I always ask on this podcast, and it varies when I ask it, but it is, do you recall when you first learned how to ride a bicycle?
Honestly, I do.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That is, that's a good question.
Thanks.
Living in New York State, I have two older sisters.
Okay.
So the oldest gets a bicycle. I don't know what kind of bike or anything. And then as the next one starts getting older, she gets a bicycle. So we have two girls' bikes. We didn't have a whole lot of money, okay? And all of a sudden, little Ricky wants a bicycle. So my dad is thinking, I can't buy a third bike.
Right.
So my dad was the craftiest person that ever walked the planet, right? So he got a piece of wood and carved out a crossbar, painted it exactly to match the bike.
Yeah.
Automotive paint, so it looked real.
So it was crafted as a girl's bike first.
Yeah, it's a girl's girl's bike.
Step through. Okay.
So now it's a Studley man's bike. So that was my first bike, and I remember getting on that in the driveway, and you go a little bit and you fall over and try it again. So
So was it your dad who taught you how to ride a bicycle? Was he spending the majority of the time doing that?
I think it was mostly the three of us kids.
Okay. Just kind of watching and observing the whole
hard
family.
knocks learning. Yeah. Right.
Well, when you launched yourself the first time and did need help, what thoughts did you have?
Yeah, that's too long ago.
Too long ago?
Yeah, the first launch.
What age were you?
That would have been sub 10, probably about 6-ish, maybe.
Okay.
7, somewhere around there. I mean, I wasn't real little, but I was little.
And then has the, well, I mean, 6 is really little for learning a bike. I mean, or it's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody learns at different ages. I think
That's right.
I think I learned when I was 4 or 5. learned like in a day. It was, it was super fun.
I have a niece that didn't learn until she was, how old was Lindsay? She was probably about 14.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very, very stubborn, hard-headed, and she would get on the bike and push off and go about 5 feet, tip over, crash her brains out, and she get up. And she's just angry, and it's like, all right, Lindsay, are you okay? Are you okay? I can do this. And she right that bike and take off again and crash again, and just over and over and over.
That's funny.
And she's now a triathlete.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Speaking of her, this is my younger sister's daughter.
Okay.
And I have been coaching her from afar. She lives in Ohio. And last summer, I think, was her first year of triathlon. She did a triathlon up in Ohio, and then she came down to the Gulf Coast Brent Robinson race, Olympic distance. First ever big race, first ever ocean swim. And she got, oh gosh, what was it? I think 3rd place age group. And it's a big race. I mean, they have like, 600-700 people in the Olympic category. And, there she is on the podium, her first big race.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. She's brutal.
So, I didn't really introduce you. We just dove into it. So
it's okay.
Rick Greif, you are undoubtedly the myth, the man, the myth, the legend, the godfather of triathlon here in the city of Huntsville, at least. You I gotta say, when anybody seeks advice, they're usually like, "Hey, yeah, go talk to Rick. He'll tell you what's going on. He'll give you the advice you need."
Well, and that's only because I've been around so stinking long.
Well, yeah, but when did you get started in the sport?
I think it was 1994 was my first race.
Wow. Okay.
So that's like 30 to 31 years ago.
Yeah.
And basically, I had a friend at work. And her husband were from Niceville, Florida.
That puts you like roughly in your 40s when you started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, early 40s.
Early 40s, okay.
And I think I was 43, something like that. Anyhow, she said, oh, there's this really nice little sprint triathlon in Niceville. We should sign you up and let's all go down and do it, right? I'm thinking, well, what's a triathlon, first of all? I had no idea, right? And so I started training. We were living in an apartment at that time while our house was being built.
And what is this here in Huntsville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Huntsville?
Since 1964. No. Yes. Yes, 64 we came down.
Okay. Wow.
So anyhow, I'm riding a bicycle. It's a bicycle that I won, an old Ross Grand Tour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's actually a good bike.
Yeah.
And running. I could run back then. I could actually run pretty decently. But then there was what's that other third thing? So the swim.
The first thing, which is the swim. Yeah.
I had no idea.
You just don't drown. That's all you got to do on that.
And so the apartment we're living in had a swimming pool that was shared by myself and the ducks, right?
Is it like 20 feet long?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a little bitty pool.
Three strokes and you got to turn.
It was the bottom. I always remember swimming along, having my goggles on, and you look at the bottom of the pool. It's just full of duck poop, right? But we did it. We got that done. So anyhow, doing this training, and I never did a brick. I had no idea what a brick is or the value of a brick.
Yeah.
So it's time to go down and do the race. And I asked this friend at work, I said, so when are y'all heading down? Oh, well, we're not going down. We're not going to do it. I said, well, I thought we were all going to go down, right? She basically says, no, we're just daring you to see if you'd do it. So,
you got roped into doing a race.
Absolutely.
All by yourself.
Got roped in. And I'll just tell you real quick about this first race is, so we go down and I remember Becky, my wife, driving us up to the race venue, and there's people all hustling around, and we have no idea what's going on. It's in Niceville. The swim is in the bay, right, the mid-bay bridge. And so, put your bike in the transition area. Wonder what the transition area is. No idea. So, okay, over there's these racks, and people are hanging their bikes off it. So, all right, got my bike ready. So I should be ready, right? And then all these people have got these little plastic pans, and they're setting it beside their bikes, putting water in it. What the heck's that for? They're not going to drink that, surely. Oh, because we run up the beach, and our feet are all sandy, and then you're going to put your bike shoes or your running shoes, whichever, on. So that's to rinse your feet off.
Yeah.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Becky, if we got a pan? No. Hubcap of the car.
Oh my gosh. This is your first race. You pulled the hubcap off the car to rinse your...
Absolutely.
Wow.
So,
see, that's why you, Rick, are like the man, the myth, the legend, because you're like just solving things off the top of the dome there. That's amazing.
What you gotta do, right?
That's pretty ridiculously awesome.
So anyhow, did the race, and I mean the swim went fine. It was kind of like swimming over at the Gunnersville Rec Center.
Yeah.
I mean, you could stand up 90% of the swim course, so there was no fear there, and it was all good. Get on the bike, and my old steel Ross Grand Tour, and I was so happy. And you go over the bridge and then come back, and then you hop off your bike. And of course, I'm biking as hard as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I was probably knocking out 14, 15 miles an hour. And you get off the bike, and all right, we're going to run. I get on the run course, and I took, I don't know, 2 steps, maybe 1.5 steps.
Yeah, jello.
And I honestly stopped and looked at my legs because I thought, surely one of them's got to be broken. There's going to be bones sticking out. And they all looked fine. So then I walked a while, and then finally could start jogging, and all was good. And I was hooked from that moment on.
And you remembered to put the hubcap back on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hubcap came home.
That'd be funny if you get home. You're like, dang it, we forgot the hubcap. Back in transition area. And then the cleanup crew is just like, why is there a hubcap in transition area?
Yeah. But that was an awesome little race. It was called Demo Man.
Oh, yeah.
And went back and did it several years in a row. As a matter of fact, did it one year while Hurricane Barry was making its waves on shore.
Wow.
And I remember riding over Mid-Bay Bridge, and I was on the downhill side, which you would normally go as fast as you can. I was putting the brakes on because I was getting just blowing all over the place. That was scary.
Wow.
But Demo Man, Niceville, Florida.
Well, I was gonna. It's probably hard to like recollect how many triathlons you've done.
We're in the neighborhood of 300.
300.
Yeah.
And that's including sprint, Olympic.
That's all
half and full.
All tri-sports. Yep.
300. Wow. How many Ironmans have you done?
14.
And then are they all tattooed on your arm?
No, I
Did you stop that?
I've missed a couple, so.
Are you gonna go back and ink them in?
Honestly, I wanted to end up at 15.
Yeah.
So we're just holding off on that.
Okay.
I memean, I doubt I'll ever be able to pull out an Ironman again, but we'll see. Of course, now I'm starting to wonder if I can do a sprint again.
All right, let's transition that. You want to talk about that? Is that okay?
That's fine.
So you recently suffered a pretty brutal crash.
I'm calling this a catastrophic crash. To tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So Ironman Florida 70.3, which is one of my favorite races. I've done that race over 20 times, 20 to 25 times. I love the Gulf swim. I love the bike course. It's flat. Run course is fine. The run course before Ironman took it over was fabulous. Ironman changed it to a 3-loop course, kind of in the hot sun. And it's not my favorite, but it's okay. So anyhow, we're down there, and I guess I got to back up just a little bit more and talk about my daughter.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
in fact, Evan, why don't you throw up a picture of his daughter? So there's your wife.
That's my wife.
We'll go back to that.
That's my puppy dog.
Well, keep going. Sorry, we'll talk about his wife here in a second. But here we go. That is your daughter right there.
Yeah, that's my daughter
And
who
her
recently became a cyclist. That's Carly.
Carly. Okay.
Yeah. And if you go back some more, you can see her and her husband, who is.
Go forward. I think that's all right.
Sorry.
These are all mixed match.
We liken him to Aquaman. One more.
There we go. All right. So this is her husband. What's his name?
His name is Tyler.
Tyler, man, he's got some good tattoos.
He is a retired Army Ranger, full medical retirement. He's unkillable. He's been shot. His Humvee's been blown up 4 times. Survived a helicopter crash. And has had numerous bad, gone wrong parachute landings.
Wow. How is he still standing? Like
it ain't easy. It ain't easy for him.
That's wow.
He works hard. He has to get nerve burns. Is that right? Nerve burns so that he can walk, basically.
Wow. Okay.
So anyhow, my wife and I drive down to do half Ironman.
You keep talking. I'm just going to read just a few things here.
So I go in, you go through the expo and you go in to register.
Yeah.
So I go in, do the registration process, and then I'm walking out. And of course, this line of athletes coming in to register is like a mile long. And I'm looking as I'm walking past for TRTC members. And all of a sudden, look that guy there. It looks just like my son-in-law, Tyler. Holy crap, it is him. And there's Carly. What the hell are they doing here? And, run up there and, yeah, this is awesome. What do you guys?
So this picture, is this down in Florida?
Yeah.
So, okay. So they completely surprised you then?
They've been coming to some of my races.
Go back to the wetsuit one.
So they've been coming to some of my races and apparently got somewhat inspired.
So this picture is down in Florida.
That's the day before Gulf Coast.
Okay. And you had no idea they were coming.
Had no idea.
So they've been training in secret.
They've been training under the radar for 6 months or so?
Wow.
To do this to surprise Dad.
That's awesome.
And don't get me going on this because I will tear up, okay?
Hey, you have full reign to tear up. We will love that if you want to.
This sport through my life has been so important, and I love bringing people into it, be they people I know or don't know. But, if my daughter and her husband are going to get involved, it's special. I mean, that's really, really special.
What did that mean to you?
Everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything. So anyhow, and so I see him and go up there and I'm thinking, what the hell are you guys doing in this line? This is the registration. Well, we're doing the race, Dad. What? I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather. It was
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. So anyhow,
it's cute. That's amazing.
Hours for that to sink in.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm going through the expo and we're buying shit and everybody I run into, oh, my daughter and her husband surprised me to come down to do the race with me, all this stuff. And the checkout lady, we bought way too much stuff, right?
You always do.
She remembered this story, and every time I'd go back, my favorite customer, and it was cool. It was super, super cool.
Now, had you spent time with them previously, helping them?
Nope.
With bike, they just completely.
Nope. Now,
where does she and her husband live?
They live in. They're now in basically Waco, Texas. Killeen, Waco area.
You're kidding me.
No.
That's like where I went to college. That's my stomping grounds.
Are you a Baylor, right?
Yeah, I'm a Baylor grad.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How about that?
How about that?
So yeah, he works for NextAir, and he was solar field manager. I'm sorry, windmill farm manager for a while, and now they're transitioning him to solar. So they kind of move him around, and this is where they are currently.
Now, are you gonna? They have half Ironman in Waco. Are you gonna sign up for that next year?
With that guy.
Well, I tell you what, I'll commit myself right here and now to do half Ironman Waco with you.
We're down.
I'll help you.
We're down.
We're down. I'll help you recover.
Okay.
Help you with rehab if you need it. I'll buy you extra creatine, whatever it takes.
It's gonna be a lot of creatine.
Waco's fun.
Yeah, I did it last year.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
I did. I had some issues in the swim, and I actually did not make the swim cutoff by a couple minutes.
Really?
But it continued on.
Yeah, yeah.
And the bike course, it was okay. It had 20 miles of chip and seal.
Yeah, and they say it's flat, man. It's rollers.
It's rollers,
and there's wind.
Yeah,
lots of wind.
But it wasn't that bad. The only thing I really did not care for is the run course, because it was so many out and backs around Baylor.
Yeah.
But the race director, Nancy Goodnight, who is the best race director on the planet, she just posted, I think yesterday, that they're going to have a new run course.
Oh, okay.
And it's not going to go through Baylor, which means hopefully there won't be so many out and backs, but it also means that they are not subject to the Baylor football schedule.
Oh, okay.
And
that's
hopefully
nice.
It'll be a little bit later in the year, so it'll be a little bit cooler, and maybe even wetsuit swim.
So that was my full.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think they've stopped doing the full.
Yeah.
But that was my full, and the run course, they were working on the Brazos River, so they had a 3-loop course. So that you had to run up Cameron Park.
Yeah.
3 times.
Oh, that's
a hilly run.
Cameron Park is tough.
Oh, it definitely is. So that one kicked my butt.
Did you bike up Cameron Park as well?
No. You did a loop around, crossed the bridge, and went out, but you avoided Cameron Park.
For the half, the bike course went up Cameron Park, and we were warned to be prepared. When you turn left right up here, you better downshift and be prepared to get out of the saddle.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You exited. You were heading toward Cameron Park, and there might have been some turns, but you never got into it on the bike course.
Okay. Yeah.
But man, if they had the bike course through Cameron Park, that's tough climbs right there.
It was.
Punchy. They're punchy and short.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, that's cool. I didn't know you have that connection. That's really neat.
That's our family plan for 26. As long as the old man can get all his parts working again.
All right, I'll sign up. I'm committed. I'll do it with you guys.
I love it. This is cool.
Yeah.
Are you going to put Brandon up at your house too? Okay.
That's even better.
Free place to stay.
I wish I would have. Were y'all living in there in 21?
No.
Okay. So yeah, when I went to do this race, I drove myself in a van by myself, solo, unsupported.
Nice.
No nice help from anybody. It was a tough one.
I'm sure. I mean, an Ironman without a support crew.
Yeah, and I think that's the true essence of what that race is. Like a full Ironman is, you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Like your hubcap thing. That's brilliant. That's probably one of the coolest stories that I've heard about someone's first triathlon. Is figuring something out like that, because when you're in that race and something goes wrong, whether it's a flat on the bike, whether you have a difficulty with the swim, goggles break, or something on the run, you've got to pause and go, what's the problem what's the solution?
Right.
How can I push past this and finish?
Yeah.
Because you mentally want to finish.
Yeah.
And then you just got to figure out how can I get my body going? How can I get this, mechanical issue solved so I can keep moving forward?
Well, and it seems like every race, no matter how many you do, you're going to have something come up and you're going to learn from it.
I don't think there's a perfect race. I think there's a perfect.
I had one.
Oh, did you?
Absolutely. Chattanooga Olympic distance last year.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Nutrition was spot on. And I felt like Iron Man the whole race.
Yeah?
I mean,
what's your nutrition secret on that one?
what's the secret? I tend to make my own power bars.
Okay.
And I was eating those on the bike. I'm also a big believer. It was very, very, very hot that day.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Hammer Endurolites.
Okay.
And I did all that properly. And then I had a sequence on the run course balancing the Hammer Endurolites with gels.
That's great.
And, it's just everything fell in place perfectly. And I felt so good.
I always joke with people. I'm like, man, doing an Ironman, it's really just an eating competition.
Yeah.
You're trying to fuel yourself for the future, basically. And
Yeah.
you're trying to do it so you don't disrupt the digestive tract,
Oh,
so.
and I have done Ironman races on so many different things because I was, I like to experiment, right?
Yeah.
I did a whole Ironman on beef jerky. I did a whole.
Oh, God.
I did one.
It's gotta be so terrible.
I did an Iron. Well, I'm thinking, I need protein, right? I need sodium, right? Okay.
I can only imagine the next day, though, not going through your system, or even during the race.
Yeah, I did one on rice balls. I mean, rice balls used to be a big thing, right? And when I was coaching, I would tell my athletes how lucky they are to have me for a coach. Because I've tried everything and I know what not to do. Right. So,
all right. So let's go back to Florida.
Gulf Coast. Yeah, we're at Gulf Coast.
Your daughter surprises you with her and her husband.
Yeah. So life is absolutely wonderful. We're going to go out the morning before at race time onto the swim course and swim. Right. I don't think Tyler has ever swum in the ocean. Right. So we go out there. And the ocean was beautiful. It was nice and clear. It was a little wavy at the first, but no problem, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, all right, we're going to swim out to the first set of buoys. We're going to turn left, swim across, which is the direction we'll be doing it on race day. And we're going to rally at the buoys, right? Meet up and discuss things. So, and then we'll swim across to that second buoy. And then we're going to rally there and we're going to sight the shoreline because when you're swimming back in, the last thing you want to do is follow other people.
Right.
You want to have a good lay of the land. And so I'm telling them, okay, so there's these two tall condos dead ahead of us and then the short one, something like that, right? And as I say, all right, so what you want to do is swim just to the left of the short one. So just keep sighting on that. Keep that in mind. Don't let anything else sway you. And so we're swimming in. I'm saying, oh, crap. I told them the wrong one. But I think they got the point, right?
Yeah.
Which didn't really matter because ultimately on race day, the riptides were so bad, they canceled the swim.
Yeah.
But that was fun. And I'm glad we had the opportunity to swim in the ocean because, I love to swim in the ocean.
Yeah. It's completely different. To me, it's super fun. I love when I get a chance to vacate to the beach. I'm like, I hop in swim for a little bit.
You can see stuff underwater. You're super buoyant. It's fun. So anyhow, we get our swim in, blah, 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 and then just kind of hang out the rest of the day and get our proper nutrition and all. And I'm still going all giddy about them doing the race with me. And then race morning, you go down, they announce swim's canceled. And you can tell it's not going to be a good day weather-wise.
Yeah.
And there's bands of weather coming toward us from the west. So time trials start on the bike. all good. I'm concerned about Carly because, she's just not real familiar with hopping on the bike in a crowded situation and getting going, because time trial start for an event like that, it can be a little intense, and you're pretty close together, and people, are hammering right off the bit, right? Because we're racing and we're all going to make $1 million, apparently, unbeknownst to me. So anyhow, we're on the bike. I think I was first out, and then I believe Carly, and then Tyler. So out on the course, and you go up Highway 79. Highway 79, they're in the process, almost completely done resurfacing it. So it is like butter smooth. Really, really, really nice. So smooth and so new. The asphalt is just black as coal with a nice oily film on it. You can see the oil, right? So riding along.
And then is it raining at this point?
Yeah, raining is on and off, right?
Okay. So that's getting that oils.
Yeah, it's bringing it to the surface. And some of us have a smoked visor on our helmet. Not a good thing on a rainy day, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a clear one. I wish I had. I'll never do that again. So I get to the turnaround on 79. I'm feeling really, really, really good, because my goal for this race was to have a good run.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm riding hard, but I'm not pushing it. Trying to keep it around 20 miles an hour. So riding back, and I can see Tyler coming out to the turnaround. So I holler and we wave, yeah, and riding along, and I'm getting close to where you turn back onto the beach roads. And I'm just riding, and I have no recollection of what happened. All of a sudden, my bike was not under me.
Yeah.
And I augured. I didn't slide. I augured into the ground. And
all right, you used a augured. What does that mean?
I just went straight down into the ground.
Like a straight on dive. Okay.
Yeah. And I was hurt so bad I could move nothing on my body.
Wow.
And I just laid in the middle of the road, and all I could do was moan. Oh, it was pitiful. And I remember EMT comes up to me, and I was so happy that somebody was going to take care of me.
So you weren't knocked out then?
Apparently not.
Okay.
My helmet did take damage. I may have been out for just a nanosecond, but I don't think so. Nobody really knows.
Okay.
But they did scan my brain, and again, it was void. So anyhow, while I'm laying there and the EMT is tending to me, 2 other bikes crash in the same area.
No way.
So best we can figure is you got this brand new asphalt, and then there's the side shoulder, which was 4 inches lower. And apparently I dropped off that ledge.
And some other people did too.
And, whose fault is that? It's my fault for not, being diligent. The selfish side of me says, God, I wish they'd have marked that or something, right?
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. So anyhow, 2 other bikes crashed in that same spot. The EMTs calling for more ambulances to come, and it was just not good. And then, so they transferred me to Panama City Hospital. And every time they moved me from the ground to the stretcher to the ambulance, it was like searing pain.
Ooh.
Because I have between 10 and 12 broken bones in my body.
From that crash?
From that crash.
What? So
several broken bones in the pelvis.
Okay.
And apparently they were big breaks, not just fractures. And they said it was like a 5 millimeter separation on the bones.
Oh, wow.
5 broken ribs, broken collarbone, and shoulder blade. So a lot of stuff is broken. A lot of stuff really, really hurts. So I'm in the Panama City Hospital, and they say, well, we don't have a trauma surgeon here. So they said, we're going to put you in an ambulance and send you to Pensacola. And I remember getting put in the ambulance. And of course, you always hop in and say, oh, can I run the siren? So, no, I couldn't run the siren or even the siren. So anyhow, and that's a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Of which I remember nothing, but apparently, I had morphine and I don't know, all sorts of really good drugs in me. So I guess I was pretty much knocked out. So then they operated on me in Pensacola. They put, a plate in my collarbone, a whole bunch of screws. And then in my pelvis, they put a big long plate with a bunch of screws and then 2 major bolts, kind of like carriage bolts.
Yeah.
That suck the bones back together. And then sent me right into a rehab facility, which we stayed in for about 10 days, I think, which was, and I'll give them a shout out, Encompass Rehab in Pensacola, Florida, was a godsend. I mean, the food was good there. The place was new. It was clean. It was pleasant. The PTs and the OTs were unbelievable. They had us pull our Jeep up to the building several times so I could practice getting in and out for the trip home.
Oh, that's awesome. They
were unbelievable. So that's pretty much the sum of the Gulf Coast crash.
Wow. So you're bionic now, basically.
Yeah. Because, oh gosh, I had my neck reconstructed a couple years ago, got a knee replacement here. And I was telling somebody, I said, I'm thinking about taking the organ donor off my driver's license and have it changed to exotic parts sale. So I'm sure this stuff's expensive, right? So, yeah.
Well, all right. So let's kind of back up a little bit.
Sorry for boring you with all this.
Yeah, no, I'm not bored at all, man. Are you kidding me? And I've never been bored with my conversation with you. I've known you for quite some time, and it's always a joy to converse with you. But I want to go back a little bit, because while this crash was pretty traumatic, there was a piece of me when I heard it was like, Rick's going to be back because of what I know of you. And you're also a cancer survivor.
Yes.
So this isn't kind of the first setback that you've had.
True.
How are you? You mind sharing a little bit about that? Are you cancer free now? Or
no. And yeah, this is another WACO story. So in 2015, I decided to start my own coaching business, Try for Life, and I had 25 athletes. It was in my opinion, and I think the opinions of a lot of others, it was a marvelous success. We had so much fun. We trained hard. We worked hard. We cried together. We ate together. It was great. And that was all super good. And then later that year, I was doing a sprint triathlon, and I kind of misstepped on the run course. Mm-hmm. It was over at Goose Pond. I basically missed the trail with my foot.
Yeah.
And so I landed hard, and I got a searing pain in my back. And I thought, oh, geez, what the heck was that? I don't know. But I stood there for a minute and thought, well, I can still run. So I ran, finished, and I did podium. And then I went to my orthopedic, not my orthopedic, my chiropractor.
Oh, chiropractor. Okay.
Good old Tracy Bagwell.
Oh, yeah.
Love that man. And he said, gosh, because I've had ruptured discs and stuff like that. And he said, this is not your normal spot. So he treated me, and he knew I had a half iron coming up in Augusta. And so we did a couple of treatments, and then it was still bothering me. And he said, well, do Augusta, and when you come back, if it still hurts, we're going to x-ray and do some other things. So I did Augusta, still hurt, came back, and Tracy did some x-rays, and he kind of did the, look,
Oh yeah.
and sent me immediately to a back surgeon, who then sent me immediately to CCI, Clearview Cancer Institute, because I had a spiral fracture around one of the vertebrae, which was multiple myeloma, because it's a bloodborne cancer, but it attacks the bones.
Oh.
So it ate away a vertebrae.
Wow.
And so that broke, and I'm very, very, very blessed and fortunate that that happened, because that let us catch that cancer early.
So you're not necessarily cancer free because it's blood.
Right.
Blood.
You don't really go into full remission.
Does that focus and concentrate on certain areas of your skeletal system then, if it's attacks the bone? Or
what it'll do is it'll attack certain bones, okay? And then if it gets bad enough, then it goes to organs.
Oh, okay.
At the time I was diagnosed, the life expectancy was only 2 to 4 years.
Oh, man.
So, I ended up in Houston, did all the radiations and all this stuff. And then down in Houston, they did the thing, the full body stem cell transplant. So they suck all your stem cells out and then give you as much chemo as they think your body can take to try to kill everything. And then put your stem cells back in, at which point you're a baby.
Yeah.
You have to get your baby shots again.
Oh, gosh.
You have zero immunity.
Wow.
So I had to stay in the hospital for 17 days, and then you have to stay 2 months in the vicinity of the hospital, because you're at extreme risk for getting something that'll kill you, basically. So, but we made it through all that, and now.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that was an easier process for someone like you because of all of your endurance training?
Absolutely. And all the doctors at MD Anderson, they attribute it to my success to the fact that I came in really, really good shape. And I was in really good shape at that time. They said that means everything. If you get this and you're just I shouldn't say average Joe, but if you have no fitness, it's going to eat you up in a hurry. So, and then, basically right now I take, it's basically a chemo pill every morning.
Okay.
And that keeps it monitored, keeps it at bay. As my oncologist here in Huntsville says, she says it keeps that stuff from getting out and partying all over in you, which I love that. So anyhow, we deal with that, and I have no complaints. It affects my blood count. My red blood cells are always low, white blood cells are always low, but it's not so bad I can't still do what I love.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
We're still racing on.
So you're alive and kicking.
Alive and kicking. Alive. We're not kicking right now.
Not kicking right now. Well, I'd imagine you're doing physical therapy now here in Huntsville?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Not yet. That's an issue with transferring from one ortho down there to an ortho here. They had me doing aggressive PT down there.
Yeah.
3 hours a day. And here I haven't gotten set up yet.
Okay.
So that's something we're working on.
Are you able to do some of those movements that they taught you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have my recliner at home, and I have all these little tiny hand weights sitting all around it, and, doing stuff as I can. And, movement's improving every day. But it's hard when your whole left side doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And that's got to be really challenging mentally when triathlon is a full body effort. When you're swimming, it's your arms and kicking.
Yeah.
When you're cycling, it's a lot of legs, but you're still got to be in that prone position. You got to be balancing with your core and your arms and shoulders. And then the run is,
Yeah.
pumping the arms and legs, and now you're limited. How are you mentally doing?
I'm doing all right. I tend to consider myself a survivor, I guess, and just keep pressing on, rebuilding. Like you said, been through the cancer thing, been through a knee replacement, which is easy peasy compared to all this. So yeah, just keep, as my daughter says, keep moving forward.
Does this give you a chance to maybe like reset on some things in your life?
Oh yeah, my toes are going to heal up and look good again, right?
Yeah, runners don't have the best looking toes, do they?
No. Yeah, I asked Stephen Carr about that, right?
Oh man, that's
yeah. We're just.
You got any? Are you maybe resetting yourself for some new and different hobbies as you get out of this?
I don't think so. I want to compete in triathlon as long as I can. My original goal was to do it to 80, right?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Who knows? But we'll see. And I've got. I'm a woodworker and a metal worker, so I've got other stuff to keep me out of trouble. So anyhow, that's that.
I forgot to put this picture up, but one of the things that you've done for us here at the bike shop is we've got a little shop van, and we got it painted, and you helped us install some vinyl, which we get compliments on that like nonstop.
Which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that. I had a good time back here in the back of the shop. But on that subject, my daughter Carly thinks that you need another one out front.
Another van out front?
Absolutely.
Oh, why does she think that? Why do
signage.
You think that?
It's all about signage, right?
Well, it's parked in the back right now.
Yeah, but what about the people going up and down Whitesburg Drive?
So we need two vans now?
Yes, definitely. It doesn't have to run. See, you can get a junker and like an old Volkswagen van, right?
Okay,
right? Okay, so there's that.
Yeah, we need to get a VW bus is what we need to do.
Yes.
And one of those cool ones you can camp in and stuff like that.
Yeah, a Westfala. Right.
I think you had a Jeep at one point with a camper tent on top, right?
Yes, I had a camper tent just like you have on your truck.
Yeah.
Which I was all enthused about that. We thought, it'd be kind of cool. We can do some overlanding, but it never really materialized. I slept in that thing maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
And I think my wife wasn't real big on climbing down the ladder in the middle of the night.
Ooh, let's go to that first photo. I think it's photo 1. It's Becky, your wife.
Becky, yes.
Let's show that picture of her.
My biggest supporter.
She's a rock star.
She is.
There she is.
That was a very, very windy ferry ride, actually.
How long have y'all been married?
Uh-oh.
Oh, did I put you on the spot? We're going to blame the...
Quite some time. 39 years.
39 years. He's on some drugs and morphine. He knew that.
Yeah, that's right.
39 years.
Yeah.
So when did you guys meet?
39 years ago.
Well, I mean, how did you meet is what I mean.
Ironically, I'm working at Dynetics at the time.
Okay.
And I'm a tech illustrator by trade. She put an application as a tech illustrator. So I interviewed her. And back in the day, this is before computers, right?
Yeah.
So we're on big drawing boards, and I would give prospective employees a test that they had to sit down at the drawing board and do, because there was no hiding it if you didn't know what you're doing.
Right.
And so she came in for an interview with a nice little short skirt on. She crawled up on that stool, and I thought, I'm going to hire her. She did do excellent on the test, though.
Perfect. That's good.
So that's how we initially met.
Okay. And Man, she is a wonderful sweetheart. Like
She is.
she is
She
nothing
is.
but support.
Yeah.
Does she enjoy kind of Sherpa-ing you? Is that a word?
Does she enjoy it? She does it. I know she's proud of her old man for doing that.
Yeah.
Now, to back up just a step, she's an equestrian.
Oh, okay.
She's been into the horse business since she was a young
Really?
child.
Okay.
Right now, she teaches equestrian at a local stable,
Really?
and that's her gig. That makes her so happy. It's kind of like me in triathlon, and that's kind of the beauty of our marriage is we respect each other's gigs,
Yeah.
and so we do what we do, and we're happy.
So she teaches people how to maybe mount up on a horse and
Yeah. Mostly kids, but she does have an adult class or two.
Can I sign up for something
You
like
can
that?
sign up. She can teach you to tally ho.
I would love that.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So I got WACO and some horses that
Yeah.
I'm signing up, man. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what else can we do?
That's right. And we used to have our own horse farm up near
really?
Ardmore,
Oh, okay.
and we had it set up to board horses and things, and we raised a couple. We buried, I think, 2 babies,
Oh,
and finally had one live. So that was tough
yeah,
business.
that is. Do you like horses yourself?
I love horses.
Or do you kind of stand back and let her do her thing?
I enjoyed them like giant dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the care and feeding. Riding them kind of bored me,
Oh, really?
because I come from the motocross background.
You ride motorcycles?
Yeah. So I used to race motocross for
Oh, really?
Yamaha in Auburn.
Oh, really?
And, it's just a fast-paced, exciting world.
What do you think the motocross background helped you with the bicycle? Or
Absolutely
do you think
not.
the bicycle helps you with?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I was telling Evan earlier, my first mountain biking foray, I got a concussion, crashed my brains out. And I think that's due to the fact that when you're on a motocross bike, your throttle is your control.
Yeah.
If you get into trouble, more throttle, and it'll square itself up, and there you go.
I see. Okay.
But my mountain bike didn't have a throttle, and I had 2 skinny legs. That ain't gonna cut it. So, yeah, it didn't. It just doesn't. It's a totally different world.
Do you still ride?
I've got
motorcycles?
a Harley now.
My last guest. He's the owner of this CrossFit gym right over here.
Oh yeah,
Chris Waters, and he said in his last podcast, every guy should own at least 2 Harleys.
I cannot disagree with that.
That's hilarious. So have you owned 2 Harleys?
Absolutely. And only 2, right?
And only 2.
I mean, in my life, I've owned probably, 25 different motorcycles. But, however, after this crash, it hurt so bad, I'm getting pretty serious about selling the Harley.
Oh, really?
So if anybody out there in podcast world wants a nice Harley 48, come see me.
I got a birthday coming up, and I bought myself a motorcycle.
Are you serious? What did you get?
I just got an entry level thing. I got a 2023 Honda SCL 500.
Cool.
So it's a little commuter.
Yeah.
It's kind of set up as a little scrambler kind of thing. So
nice.
I'm not trying to go fast or anything. I think at least every guy should learn how to ride a motorcycle.
Of course.
Not necessarily own 2 Harleys. We'll see what happens, but I just want to learn how to ride. I don't want to do anything crazy, or I'm Mr. Safe when it comes to 2 wheels. So
you just keep that radar up at all times, and you'll be fine and dandy.
Okay, cool.
And be aware that every car is only on the road for one reason. and that's to kill you.
You know, when I ride my road bike, and I go out, I am such a defensive road cyclist.
Mhm.
I am hyper aware of everything. I will, obey the rules of the road.
Right.
But if I see something that can cause me to have an accident with a car or another person or a thing, dude, I'm taking evasive maneuvers.
Absolutely.
For sure, and being safe.
Yeah.
So if I've got to run a red light or a stop sign I will do it. And I'd rather get a ticket and be like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
And be like,
Yeah.
It saved my life. What do you want from me?
Yeah. And hyper aware is the perfect word.
Yeah.
You can't ever let your guard down.
No. And one thing that I've added to my, cycling equipment, is a radar.
Yeah. From the rear radar?
Yeah, Garmin's got a radar.
Yeah.
And I have that one. I think Wahoo just came out with one. You put that on, your seat post or back of the bike somewhere. And then married with whatever computer you got, it will let you know when cars are coming up behind you.
And does it not give you a quicker beep or something?
Yeah, it can give you a beep and let you know, and when it's, and it's nice because it lets me know, hey, I'm going to make sure I give that car all the opportunity to pass. And then it's got a camera on it too, so
yeah. And that's is so smart. Let me tell you real quick about before I did my first Ironman. Doing a lot of racing on the Florida Panhandle there, and I met this guy, my age group, and oh my gosh, he and I battled every race.
Yeah.
And we would be within 5 seconds of each other. I mean, and then we finally met, got to talking to each other and became fast friends. He was an attorney down from, I forgot, somewhere in South Alabama.
Sure.
And super, super nice guy.
He wasn't one of the guys you always see on the billboards, aren't you? Like,
no.
Call me Alabama if you got a crash.
No. His name was not Alexander. Actually, it was Brian Dowling.
Oh.
But he was the guy that convinced me I could do an Ironman before I ever did one. Because, we had done some halves together and stuff. And he was out on a training run one day, and I believe he was running on the wrong side of the road. So cars are coming up behind him too close, and he got hit and killed.
Oh. And
it's just like, those things that you have to be aware.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah, to Brian. I preach a lot of safety. We have a little Wednesday night ride, and rule number one is be safe.
Yep.
And we go over some safety protocols, and it's just like, and safety begins with your bicycle. Do you have brakes working? Do you have your tires pumped up? Is everything shifting properly? Do you have the right saddle height? Do you have a helmet on? Do you have the lights? Do you have hydration? It's that checklist that you gotta go through, and it's important. So.
All those important things, which, speaking of conditioning your bicycle, so I got my bike back. I had some friends bring it back, and I looked at it yesterday, and I almost puked because there was rust on my chain.
So
I'm really anal with my chains.
Yeah. So how's the bike? That's always the joke with anytime you have a crash, and especially if it's not serious, you stand up and you're like, all right, I'm fine. How's my bike?
Right. And this is the first crash I think I've ever not done that.
Yeah.
I don't even know where it was. I didn't care where it was. Yeah. But, it got banged up a little bit. I think it's all okay.
You suffered the majority of the...
Yeah, I took the brunt. But, obviously before I can ride again, I'll let you give it the once over. So,
heck yeah, I'll be happy to.
I think the only thing when I was looking at it yesterday that alarmed me outside of rust on the chain was the front fork on those QRs. It'll turn too far where the fork itself bangs into the head post, whatever.
Yeah.
And it looks like it might have hit it pretty hard. Okay. And I would hate to think that the fork is cracked, but I didn't examine it too closely.
Yeah, that's if it's just that, sometimes you can just get a replacement fork as long as the with you therapy. Did they give you like a time range of when you should be walking on your own?
Yeah.
Or
So basically, my left foot, my instructions are toe tap only for 3 months, which means you can't put any weight on that foot, but you can use your toes to balance yourself. So that's for 3 months, which is way too long. And then left arm, I can lift a few pounds, but not much. Period of time there is going to be really dependent on follow-up x-rays on how things are healing. So, and I would think that would come along pretty quickly. But apparently I'm going to be a really dull guy for 3 months at least.
Sounds like maybe after the clavicle heals, then maybe some time in the pool might be an option.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, because I mean that would be really low impact, and you can.
Yeah, and I could use the time in the pool.
We all could. That's.
And ironically, I've had several people with broken collarbones, right? And some took forever to be able to swim to get a stroke proper again, and some say, "Oh, that was my savior, was swimming." So I guess that all just depends on the specific injury.
I think that's what's kind of fun about the sport. You get bored with one element. Hey, let me train the other.
Exactly.
You get injured in one. Hey, you know what? I can do this one and be okay. You're always have an option, if you will.
Yep. I've always said that's the beauty of triathlon. You got 3 things to keep you busy. If you start drowning, then you can bike and run.
I want to compliment you, Rick. In the sense that ever since I've known you, and I can't even remember when we met, but I'm sure it's through Team Rocket Tri Club or some various organization event kind of thing, multi-sport stuff. In fact, I actually remember the first time it was Renaissance Man, and I'm like,
oh, that's right.
That's when I think I first spent some time with you.
Yeah,
and
I loved that race.
Yeah, it's a. I wish who does that? Is it Team Magic now? Do they still do that?
Team Magic did it for a year or two after I forgot his name.
Yeah,
stopped doing it, and then it's off the calendar.
That's a fun little area and swim and course. I mean, I like the course too.
The bike was awesome. It was an awesome bike course.
Man, the run hurts.
Yeah, but that was so cool because it's downtown and ultra challenging.
Yeah, super fun, but it hurt.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay. So that's when I think I remember kind of you're just crazy positive, happy, positive, encouraging. I've rarely seen you in a position where you've turned down to help somebody. I don't think I've ever seen that. You're always willing to go the extra mile, and passionately do things for people. You passionately, if somebody needs help, it's not like, okay, I'll do it, and you half-ass it. You're full board.
Well, I try to be, okay. And what you see is you always see me involved with multi-sport events, right? And I have a passion for people who are willing to hurt. People who are willing to put in the effort to make themselves better. And if you're putting in that type of effort and need my help, I'll do whatever I can to help you. On the other hand, if you're just sitting around being a lazy slug, then I'll easily pass you up. And I shouldn't say it like that, but I won't give you the effort that maybe you desire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a passion for people trying to make themselves better.
I think that says a lot to, people who try to help themselves. usually can get there and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they have a little nudge and support in the right direction, it makes it all the better.
And, I mean, I've coached, I don't know how many hundreds, many hundreds of people in this town in triathlon for the Fleet Feet Tri 101 program, which Suzanne Erickson and I started up. And, the vast majority of those people, they're there, they're serious.
Yeah.
They're willing to put in the effort.
Yep.
And very few people were the whiners and complainers. Well, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. And, they've gone by the wayside, right?
You ever had to fire anybody?
No, I wanted to. But, and I mean, I can think of one specific instance. Obviously, I won't mention names. But this one young lady just whined and complained about everything, and she was capable, right?
Mm.
I know she was capable. And I finally told her, I said, listen, you can do this. You have to put in the effort. You have to try. You have to try hard. It's not easy. Not anybody can just do this, but I know you can do it. And you still get stonewalled.
Mm.
And you get to a point where you say, okay, that's fine. On to the next person.
Yeah. I think you just nailed it on the head, especially when it comes to injuries too. You gotta try. Like the body, I think, wants to heal itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And if you, I think if you can get there emotionally, mentally to say, I'm gonna get better, then the body follows suit.
Yeah. Absolutely. And these bodies are capable of so much more than the average person will ever believe. And it just needs to be pushed. We're pretty lucky to have these things, these vessels that we live in.
Yeah.
Pretty darn lucky.
That's a good way to think of a vessel.
Yeah.
Like you take care of the vessel, it's going to float.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You just you got to be the captain. It's going to steer where you go. What's next for you other than rehab?
Rehabbing.
Are you playing? Did you pull out your old Nintendo and start playing Mario Kart and
I'm
Super
not
Mario
a gamer.
Brothers?
I am not at all a gamer, and I don't think I'm smart enough to be a gamer.
What is there anything that I can help you pass the time because you're a little immobile at the moment? Do you have things to occupy yourself?
Yeah,
what do you do?
I'm pretty good, and as each day goes by, I think I'm slowly improving. The improvement is too slow, but
yeah.
I can get out to my garage now, and I can piddle around in the garage. So, it's a process.
Gotcha.
One day at a time, right?
Well, do you have then, if I'm not sure, again, if they give you a timetable, but do you have some mini goals set for yourself of what you want to be able to do?
Well, my first goal is to be able to walk.
Okay.
Which reminds me of when I got my knee replacement, they wanted you to walk right away and to walk as much as you humanly could.
Mm-hmm.
I took my Doberman walking every day. We would walk and walk and walk. And that did my mind good, my soul good. It was...
What's your dog's name?
That's Ranger. Ranger Danger. He's a piece of work. He's a rescue.
Oh, awesome.
We got him when he was 1 year old. He was originally gotten as a puppy by a couple who lived in an apartment, and it was during COVID.
Mm.
COVID strikes. Oh, we're stuck at home. What are we going to do? Oh, let's get a puppy. And boy, they did nothing. No training. We got him, and he was a wild hooligan. And he's a pretty darn good boy now. He loves his dad, so that's good.
He's got a little training underneath him.
Yeah, we actually took him to obedience training.
Oh, okay.
And he's got the manners that he has are impeccable. The manners that he doesn't have would drive you crazy. But that's okay. I mean, he's good entertainment. He keeps Becky and I laughing all the time.
When you came home, did he recognize, did his temperament change seeing you with your injuries?
He was kind of weird. We hate boarding him, first off, but we don't want to impose on friends to take him for us. So we put him in boarding, and, typically it's like, 4 or 5 nights at the most. Well, he was boarded this time for 2.5 weeks, I think it was. And he was pretty weird and standoffish when we got home. He's still wondering why I don't take him out in the backyard and play, right? So we have this thing every day about between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. It's Miller time for Dad, right? So I go to the refrigerator and I get a can of beer and I pop the top. And no matter where he is,
he knows what that sound is.
He hears that, boom. All right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we got back, and he and the other dog play and romp and chew sticks and throw stuff. And I'll sit on the porch and drink a beer.
Man, so it's 3. Is that still happening?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, maybe I need to come visit you between 3 and 4.
You're more than welcome to. Do you chew sticks?
No, I was hoping I could drink the beer.
Oh, okay. We do have that. And it's funny because I've got a 6-pack of my favorite beer, Judge Roy Bean from Fairhope Brewery.
Oh, okay, down in Alabama on the coast there.
Yeah,
okay.
If you like dark, heavy coffee flavored beer.
Oh, okay.
So good. But I can't drink it right now because of the drugs, right?
Yeah.
And it just stares at me whenever I look in the fridge. Drink me.
All right. If you need help taking that temptation away, just let me know. I think I can help out with that.
Gotcha. As soon as I'm back on it, we may have to have a beer for all in the backyard. I don't know.
Yeah, let's have a celebratory Rick can
drink again. Not that I'm an alcoholic.
Walk again.
Yeah.
Not drink again.
It's just like, and my sister has a saying, I love this. She's a beer drinker.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I drink 2 beers a day in the evening, whether I need them or not. And I love that. And that's, it's pretty much what I do. I have a beer with my dinner, maybe one before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy as a clam.
Tell you, after a really long race or ride, there's nothing better than, and I like more of the light beers at that, but it tastes real good.
Yeah.
But it's like one and I'm kind of done. It's just like, this is what Miller Time's all about, I guess.
Exactly. You're making me get teary-eyed.
Sorry. So, well, there's the goal, man. Have playtime with the Ranger again, where you can walk and drink beer.
Walking and drinking beer is what life's all about right now.
Heck yeah. Well, any final thoughts?
Not really, other than
any words of wisdom you can depart with the listening audience out there or the viewing audience.
I have to, I guess, relay my view of triathlon and its importance in the world, because you think about any sport and there's a bunch of jerks involved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, triathlon, I honestly think, from what I've seen in my 72 years, is the friendliest sport there is. Everybody wants everybody to do well. It doesn't matter if you're in the same age group racing or not. It's just like everybody's so encouraging. And that goes back to, I think it was probably my second Ironman. They used to have a big post-race, a banquet the next night. And that's where they would do the awards and stuff. And so I'm glad you reminded me. I had to slip this goofy story in. So I went down to the banquet. It was funny because I'm up in the motel room and my wife says, "Aren't you going to the banquet?" I said, "I don't think so." And she said, "Well, they have free beer."
I'm there.
So I go down. Of course, the whole auditorium is completely full. And so I'm standing in the doorway, kind of peering around the corner. And this other guy comes up and he's standing there peering around too. And And, you know, he was obviously European, and yeah, I shouldn't say it, but you know, Europeans are a little bit different. You know, his clothes are a little bit goofy. He's got the short, tight pants on and a goofy looking shirt and a mild accent. And, but he was so friendly, so nice. And we're chatting and joking about what's going on. And so, okay, now we're going to get to awards. First place, male. And they said this name, and this guy was the first, you know, the winner of this race, a pro, you know, just standing there chatting with me, happy as
being a normal,
pretty cool.
Normal guy.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's, I think there's that shared understanding of suffering.
Exactly.
That's the only way I can think of it.
Exactly.
If you've done a hard race, and whether it's your first sprint distance or, you know, Ironman, you know what it takes to overcome that mental anguish of your whole body just is like, why are you doing this? Let's just quit. We can quit.
Yep.
We could be sitting down drinking a beer right now.
Yep.
And you're going to be happy. But there's something that says, no, I need to find my rhythm and finish this. And I know for me, it's usually somewhere at the very beginning of the bike. The swim is a swim, right?
And you're all alone.
And you're all alone.
Yeah.
It's like, I can get through this. But as soon as I get on the bike and it's like, okay, I have this much left on the bike already. I've already calculated that. And I'm like, okay, if I'm riding at this, I'm going to be on the bike for this amount of time. And 5 minutes will go by. And I'm like, I could just stop right now and don't have to put myself through the pain that's about to happen because I'm going to start pushing myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go, this is what I signed. This is the party. This is what I signed up for.
That's right.
And then your mindset shifts to, okay, now I'm going to suffer for a certain period of time. And that shared suffering, like, you know what that means to keep going when you don't have to. And I think that's why a lot of triathletes are nice to each other.
Shared suffering says an awful lot. And us peon civilians can think about soldiers in a firefight.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about shared suffering. They're going to carry memories, thoughts, love, compassion for the rest of their lives with their buddies.
Yeah.
You know, that they're at the edge, they're fighting for their lives. That is shared suffering.
Well, man, gosh, every episode I always try to extract from the conversation some kind of theme. And I think shared suffering is it, because
I like it.
When the news came, through the socials and all the things that you had a pretty brutal crash, everybody was suffering right along with you. Because they didn't know the extent of your injuries. They didn't know what was happening. And I got to say, you're a life force. And when people knew that you had that accident, they were suffering right along with you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're able to come and chat in a conversation in the podcast and give us an update. And
Me too.
What I love about it is you're moving forward. You've got you're going to heal. You've got some goals set, and you're going to make a comeback. So
we're counting on it.
I'm excited for that. So thanks for being here, Rick.
It was my pleasure. And I want to thank you for putting up with me and doing this and running this great shop here.
Oh, thank you.
And doing these podcasts. It's great to get people to spill their guts out.
Well, there's a few things. Number one, I got to thank my business partner, Brandon Pinky, because I told him about this idea and he's just like, okay, yeah, go for it. And I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
That sounds just like Pinky. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. But two, throughout my many a year being in the bicycle industry and these events and things, you just come across so many people with amazing stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, the one thing that I know, especially about triathletes, is they love to talk about races and training and what they're going to be doing and what equipment they're
ad nauseum.
Yeah. But even when you're on a bike ride or on a run or doing something, everybody's got a story, a fun story to kind of share and tell. And, you know, one of the things that I've learned about life is I've rarely come across somebody who doesn't know how to ride a bicycle. And that's why I always ask this question is, you know, do you remember when you first learned how to ride? Because that's a theme that binds just about everybody.
Yeah.
Like you can pick, you know, the maybe laziest person, and you might chat with them about, hey, do you know how to ride a bike? I'm like, yeah, I know how to ride a bike. There's a connection right there. There's something.
Good point.
So, but it also, you know, it's also, I truly believe when you first learn how to ride, that's your first form of
freedom.
Well, freedom, but also of the understanding that you can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Like most kids, when they first learn, they go, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like I'm riding a thing that I didn't think I could do, and now I'm doing it.
Moving through space and time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But well, thanks for that compliment. I know my business partner and I, we love bikes, so we love
it. Shows
we enjoy it.
Yeah.
So well, we try to make it happen.
And you know what really shows is the fact that you like all forms of bikes.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a triathlete, a time trialist, a roadie, a mountain biker. Be on a bike, right?
Yeah, and bikes have gotten so intricate and complicated.
Yeah.
And now we have e-bikes, and that's bringing a whole nother clientele and personhood into people riding on two wheels. And,
absolutely.
And I'm a big proponent of e-bikes, especially from a fitness standpoint. It gets people moving.
Right.
And if you're moving, you're going to get healthy at some point.
You know, I offered to buy one for my wife so that she could ride with me when I'm on training rides. And she said, yeah, that'd be fun. But, you know, if I have that much time to kill, I'm going to be on my horse.
And I love that. That's great. And I'm going to follow up. I'm going to get her to teach me how to.
Okay, there you go.
To gallop. I want to gallop.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it? Is that what you say?
Well, you know, the most fun I ever had on a horse is when we were on a dead run.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exciting. But that just doesn't happen all the time because you got to have, I don't know, space and safety protocols and all this and that.
Well, Rick, let's end it here.
Okay.
Evan, if you'll hit kind of the outgoing music and the logo and stuff.
Cool.
You're so fun to talk to, Rick. I appreciate you.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Mics are kind of semi-long.
Okay. Then I will just semi-think about this good timing because it's about time to